Hello, everyone. Welcome. And today I'm excited because I have two guests, not one, two. Usually I have one person with me, but today I have two. Of course, I have our coach Toni here with me, but she has brought on another guest. Her name is Shazna, right? Shazna. And she was a student teacher who came to be mentored by Coach Toni when she was working in the school system. So we wanted to bring both of them today, and I wanted to talk to them about how Toni was able to mentor her and what she gained from that experience and how it was for her because she's going to be entering the classroom next year, right?
Yes.
So we're excited. So thank you for being here and thank you for coming. But before we begin, though, on my show, anything I do, I like to bring ourselves here and now because I don't know about you guys, but usually as human beings, we all are busy, right? We tend to go into our past and we think about our past a lot of times. And many times when we're thinking about our past, it's not usually the good stuff, right? It's usually the ones that we shouldn't have done, could have done. Why didn't I do it? Why did you do like that? Why did you say this, right? So most of the time we're beating ourselves up about something that happened. And we all know logically that we can't change that, right? We can never change the past. But for some reason, we love to go back and think about how we could have done it or how it could have gone and how I should have behaved, right? All of these things. But unfortunately, that keeps us where? It keeps us in the past. Really, it doesn't allow us to be here and now. And here and now is the only place we can create anything, right? If we're in the past, I don't have anything to create with because I'm so focused on my past. All my brain is working on the past stuff. So what can we do with the past? We should think about it sometimes, but what can we do it if we keep going there? We should be able to pull ourselves back to here and now because here and now is where we live. Here and now is where we learn. And here and now is where we can lead ourselves and others. So back to the question, what can we do with this thought that keeps us pulling to the past? We really have to let go because only thing we can extract from is lessons, right? Take the lessons, they're very valuable, and then you have to let it go. There's no point in revisiting them all the time and replaying them because it keeps us hostage and stuck. So if we let go of the past, then some of us, what do? We think about our future. Future is exciting, right? We should think about our future. Future is very exciting. But what we do, though, we project the past and think through the past lens, how our future is going to look like. And then we have all these what if. What if I fail? What if I do that again? What if this happens? What if that happens, right? Because what is feeding that is our past experience, right? And that type of future projection is pretty bad, right? What does it do? At the end of the day, it produces anxiety, right? Doesn't it? It's full of fear and anxiety and uncertainty. We don't need to live in that. It doesn't help us. Again, that doesn't leave me to be here and now to create anything. I'm recreating a story that I don't even know if it's going to happen. But my brain thinks it's going to happen, right? So the future projected through the past is, again, waste of time. But we know future is possible for us. So what can we do with the future thinking? We can just bless it, and we should just release it because it's not in any of our hands. If I could predict that, I could make a lot of money with that, right? But unfortunately, I don't have that capacity. I think none of us have that. So we should just bless it and release it. So look what happens when I let go of the past and let go of the future planning. I have now both of my hand. And I can bring it now and here. And now and here is very powerful because now I can focus on my learning, living, and leading. And that's what we're going to do right now. I want you to bring yourself here. Now, Toni or Shanaz, do you guys do anything to bring yourself besides thinking about it and pulling our brain back to here and now? Do you do anything else besides that to bring yourself here?
My favorite trick is to get myself to yawn. This is my favorite trick. It might not work for everybody, but it's my favorite. Everyone has their own. So I like to look as far as I can to the right.
Yes.
Until I yawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you told me this one last time. I like that.
And then look all the way to the left.
You're not turning your head, right? Only your eyes, right?
Just your eyes until I yawn. And that's just something that stimulates your vagus nerve, which helps your body be calm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just your eyeballs. Yes.
Interesting. I didn't know that would make you yawn.
I'll have to try that one
out. Yeah. I think for me, I try to bring myself back by touching things around me. So just making it feel okay, this is where I'm at. This is real. If I'm touching my pillow or a blanket, something that's around me to bring me back to here and now. And that helps me a lot.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And then the popular one we all love is our breaths, right? Because we have it. We take it for so granted where we have it so much available to us, but we don't take those deep breaths, right? To bring ourselves here and now. So let's just do one round of this because we have lots to talk about. So let's inhale for 4. Hold for 4. And then release it for 8. All the worries, all the stress, all the fear, all the anxiety, whatever you've been holding on to today, just let it go through your mouth out. Now, if you do that 3 times, it really settles you, right? Really brings you here, right? Yes, it's so beautiful. So I want to start with Coach Toni. Coach Toni, you've been in the classroom for so long. So, Shazna is not your first student client, right?
No, I started taking pre-service teachers early on in my career, and then I had a terrible experience with someone who was so talented with children, but just very uncoachable. And so I stopped for a long time. And then I think since I started up again, I've had 7 up to Shazna. I was taking a student teacher every year. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of teaching.
So the last year you were in the school year, you were part of our program as well, becoming a certified Wholistic NeuroGrowth Success Coach. And then,
I was.
Yeah. So tell me about this particular mentorship that you did. How was it different?
This completely different. I don't know if you know this, Shazna, but I took a really big chance and decided to try something completely different. And I would have abandoned it immediately if it wasn't working, but I tried a really, really different approach with Shazna. I started with you in December, early January, and Shazna, you came into the classroom in April. Is it April?
Maybe April, yeah.
So at that time, at that time, I was in the process of coaching myself because I'd been through coaching with you, Kohila, and that had settled me. And I was learning how to coach someone else and also learning how to practice what I'd learned in coaching. Yeah, I pulled out of burnout, pretty serious burnout, and that kind of burnout where you don't have any hope for the future, right? It's not tired. It's that lack of feeling like there's any joy in the work that you're doing anymore, which was hard for me. So I had come out of that and was convinced. So I was trying to practice it. And I was also using it on my students because a lot of my students were dysregulated. And so I would talk out loud, oh, Mrs. Sartorelli is feeling a little bit anxious. So I'm just going to stop and I'm going to drop my shoulders and I'm going to take a breath. And I would model it that way. And my students were starting to pick up on it. They were starting to there were other strategies I used as well, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they were starting to pick up on their own, and they were seeing me as a learner. So when Shazna came in, this was very much the classroom climate. And I decided to, instead of focusing on Shazna's lesson plans and her delivery and her timing and all of those things, I decided to focus on regulating her nervous system, making sure that she felt safe, and giving positive feedback because there was lots of positive feedback to give, and just creating a space for her where it felt comfortable for her to take risks and try things and learn from it. And that was a completely different approach. That had always been a component of my mentor teaching, but this time it wasn't the add-on, it was where I started. So instead of doing all the things that you're supposed to do as a cooperating teacher or mentor teacher, and then adding on the safety and the emotional regulation, I decided to start with the safety and the emotional regulation. And then if I had time to worry about the other things, I would worry about those other things. So it was a very different approach.
Beautiful. Thank you. So coming into her, Coach Toni's classroom, what was your feeling like? I'm going into an experienced classroom. I mean, what was your nervous system like when you just walked into that classroom?
Well, first I want to say I'm so glad that that's the approach that you did with me, because coming into my first practicum, I'm a very anxious person. My confidence hasn't always been very high. And so coming to the classroom, I was incredibly anxious. I was worried about my lesson plans. I was worried that Toni would think, oh my gosh, she's going to try to be a teacher. She doesn't know anything. Like, but when I went into her classroom and I saw all of like the art on the walls and her posters, and it was very much like the environment itself felt safe. And then when I talked to Toni, then they both aligned. The mistakes are okay. And when you mentioned the low risk and like how you gave me positive feedback, I was actually thinking about that, how when we first met and when you would talk to me after class, you would give me a lot of positive praise, not overly praising everything, but you highlighted things I did really well. And then you would suggest, oh, like that was really good. And this could relate to this, but you weren't pushing that. And then you really created that safe relationship. Like there was a lot of trust being built between us. So you were able to give me genuine feedback and give me ways to improve without hurting my feelings. Like it was very safe. And I really, really appreciated that, especially for my first practicum. That was perfect for me. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. So let's go back to being not that. So if she didn't give you that, you came in, it wasn't like that. The environment was a bit chaotic because most classrooms are, right?
Yeah.
Usually, right? It's normal. So, and then she wasn't like that. What would have that done for you coming with what you came in, because you said you were already anxious? What would that have happened in your practicum?
It's so hard to, it's hard to know how my practicum could have gone, because during my second practicum, my CT had a lot of classroom management, but it was just very different from how I would manage a classroom. And it was a younger class. It was a grade 1 class compared to grade 4. And it was the beginning of the year instead of the middle. But I guess if I were to think about not having Toni in the classroom in my second practicum, I felt a lot more overwhelmed. I felt I would sometimes forget some of the things that Toni had taught me, of like, don't teach a lesson if those kids are talking. Don't teach a lesson if they're not regulated, because if they're not regulated, they're not learning. And so I think if maybe Toni wasn't my CT and it was maybe more of a typical classroom without that maybe mental health well-being, then maybe I think my lessons would have been really bad. I don't know if I would have felt confident later on. So, but like based off of Toni, I think my second practicum, I was able to get through it because I had that. So it's so hard to know. I'm sorry.
So with anxiety, what happens is, no matter what type of anxiety, where it comes from, for all of us, right? If we're anxious, we tend to transfer that to the other person, which is our students, yes. Right?
Yeah.
So then, even though you may want to do the right thing, because of your nervous system is not syncing, and then your nervous transfers to them, and then now you have a lot of anxious people in front of you as well. So then it multiplies, it amplifies, the energy amplifies, the wrong energy.
Yeah, and also just based off of the feedback that Toni gave me, like, so I have ADHD, and part of my ADHD is I have rejection sensitivity. And so with the way Toni, she was very like gentle, but in like not like a babying me way, but like she was just gentle. She knew how to approach me and knew how to talk to me and provide that feedback. I'm very forthcoming with my ADHD. And so I think if I didn't have that, it would have been not good. It would have been, I might have left actually. I was like, it was hard. Yeah.
So, here we are, we go through a program and we want to be the best teachers, but then we have our own nervous systems to work on, right? Yeah. And then that reacts to what the other person's going to be like the mentor teacher, right? So going back to Toni, so did you know she had ADHD and all this, she's anxious, or you was just going to change the way you approach this mentorship?
I had decided to approach this mentorship this way before she showed up. But I could feel when she first showed up that she was nervous. I could really feel that, and really self-critical. So I know when I would give you feedback, I think I remember the first time that I gave you feedback, you came off your first lesson and you were so critical. You had a list of things that didn't go well. And I had to stop you and say, no, it's okay. I saw this went really well and this went really well. And I think you drove yourself forward more than anything, because you had your whole list in your mind of things that you wanted to do to improve. And it was just making you feel calm enough to be able to do that without, when I did my student teaching sometimes, and even in my first years of teaching, I was so anxious. It was almost like I was watching myself from above. I was completely disconnected from the class. All I could think about was, okay, step 1, step 2, did I get this in? Looking back at the lesson plan, did I do this? And I wasn't able to even think about the mood of the students in the class. I was just, your brain can only hold so much information, right? So I think I'm glad that I did it. I think it could have gone not so well had I not chosen to do that.
Yeah.
So, and no, I didn't know you had ADHD. I just noticed that the first time you were so hard on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of things did go wrong. I did that too, right? My first student teacher, or my first cooperating teacher, facilitator, mentor, she and her colleagues stood at the board when I was teaching grade 1, and they had me write the morning message, and they stood there and laughed at me because you can't write an E that way. Oh, you have to learn how to write this E. So yeah, I felt that anxiety too, and I didn't want anybody else to experience that. It took me a long time to get over that as a teacher.
Yeah.
And it's not the way I would want someone to start their career, feeling like they have to be perfect.
Yeah, the perfect is a big word, isn't it? Measuring up to it is so hard.
Yes.
I mean, perfect to what level? Whose level? Who's got the scale, right? The perfect scale, right?
And if you don't know what's good, you don't know what to keep doing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So why did you decide to, this is the way I'm going to approach Coach Toni?
It's been a really hard time for teachers in Alberta. I had a long line of student teachers. Well, yeah, in the world I've learned, right? Alberta's pretty bad, but since COVID, I've seen colleagues drop like flies. It's so much. And with student teaching, I mean, we need another generation of educators. And we need another generation of really solid educators. And with so many people leaving the profession, and also it was a bit of a selfish decision too, because I'd worked so hard to create this calm space in the classroom for myself and for the students, that a student teacher coming in who's really anxious, that anxiety doesn't only just shift onto the students, it also shifts onto the cooperating teacher and the mentor.
Yes.
So there was an environment that I really wanted to preserve as well. And I also just wanted to see, it was working so well with the students. I thought, what would happen if I did this, right? I'm training to be a coach. Let's try being a mentor/coach instead of being the person who holds everyone accountable. And is she meeting the teaching quality standard? And this part of your lesson is not, and you need to, that's a lot of work to do that. And I found that making sure that there was a safe place and that Shazna was able to keep her regulation, even when there were some times when things did not go well. We were able to laugh about it and just start again, right? Fall down, get back up, keep going. I think that had that environment not been safe, I can remember myself when I was teaching, one thing would go wrong and then the rest of the day would just spiral. I couldn't let that thing go. And then the whole day was gone. And when you only have 6 weeks in your first student teaching experience and 9 weeks in your second student teaching experience, you can't afford to waste those days. You have to be fully present and learning in those days. So, and I just personally believe that when a person goes to work, it shouldn't be awful. Whatever the work is, no one should have to go to work and feel awful about what they're doing. The best teachers are the ones who are happy, passionate, enjoying the day with the students. That's the environment I would want my child to be in. I wouldn't want them to be in an environment with a teacher who's this close from snapping or having so much anxiety that it's difficult for them to respond to needs. So
absolutely. Yes. So with this experience, are you excited to go into the classroom and be a teacher?
I am so excited. I don't know. It's actually quite fun being in a classroom. I was afraid of Division 2 with like grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, but now being in that classroom, I would be like, okay, with it, but I still like my passion is like grade 1 to grade 3. So I really love the young kids. I'm excited to provide that support at a very young age where it's like, oh, mistakes, I make mistakes. Look at this K. It was written awful. Oh, well, oops. It's so fun. And like, it's so encouraging to have the tools that you gave me to give to younger kids. Because even in physical education, like in the like PE, at the end of every class, I'd be like, okay, let's touch our ears and our earlobes and take deep breaths and let's teaching them regulation at a young age. It's just, I'm so excited to encourage that, I guess. Yeah. And teach them mental health too.
How did that go with your younger students in grade 1? I'm so curious about that.
Oh, it went really well. I find gym class gets them really dysregulated in a way because they're having such high activities. And so I'd always end with Simon Says, and it would be a little silly at first, but then I'd kind of go into a calm, like stretch your arms up, touch your toes. Okay, take the deepest breath. Oh no, don't let go yet. Take another deep breath. Oh, don't let go yet. It would be really fun. And then they'd blow out their air. And then I'm like, okay, now touch your earlobes. No, touch the top of your ears, but slow. And then it would work. And when we walk in the hallway back to class, they weren't going crazy. They weren't super hyper. They were able to just walk, and they were talking, but they weren't chaotic. It didn't feel chaotic. So I felt that really, really helped. And I also, during actual math lessons, if I felt nervous up there, because sometimes I lose my thought process, and I'll tell them, "Whew, okay, let's take a minute. Let's give Mrs. P 1 second. Let's take a deep breath together because I need a deep breath too." And it would really bring everyone back to what we're learning, and it helped. So
it's beautiful, right? It's beautiful relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we co-regulate.
Yes. Yeah.
What were you going to say, Coach Toni?
I was going to say Shazna's relationship with students was just incredible.
Yeah, it seems like it's very animated. I can see it.
It was incredible. They loved her, adored her.
Yes, I can
because
see the animation.
she saw them. That's that part that all children are looking for, is to be seen for who they are and know that who they are is okay and appreciated. Yeah. And for some students, that's a lifeline. Yeah. Because especially for students that have ADHD, when all they've heard for years is, stop doing that, sit down, be quiet, be still, stop. Right? Someone to come in and say, you know what, I have ADHD too, and this is how I manage. That child, that's incredible for them. It shows them that they're not going to fail in life, that there might be, they can get by too. Maybe they can become a teacher or anything else that they want to do. So
is there anything you're worried about starting to work inside a classroom?
Oh yeah, probably like
tell us the list.
There's always like anxieties of not knowing the curriculum, or not having the right, it's about being not being perfect, right? In my head, I know I'm not perfect, I can't be perfect, it's okay to make mistakes, but then I'm worried that I won't be able to be the best teacher in that way, where it's like, okay, I understand regulation is important, making them feel seen, heard, cared for is really important, but also their academic success is important, which is aligned with that. But I'm like, oh man, math is always so scary for me. So that scares me. Or the conflict, sometimes the conflict that they come to you with, oh, I didn't go through that. Oh my gosh, what do I think? How do I respond to that? It's always, there's lots of worries. Parents can be a little scary to think about. But yeah, those are most of my worries. Yeah.
Those are new teachers' worries, right? All new. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
When I think about all of those things, I think you have a really strong gift, though. I think that your ability to regulate yourself and pass that regulation on to other people is not just going to help you with your students. It's going to help you with your colleagues. It's going to help you with your principal. It's going to help you with parents. because that's what it's all about. When a parent comes in, you see it, you see the stress, you see the anxiety, the same co-regulation strategies that you use with parents, even if it's just doing it yourself, right? Or making them feel safe when they come in. Having that tool is going to get you a long way to avoiding any of those things that you're worried about. Because all of the conflicts that I've had in education always come from when people are in that amygdala state, when they're in that fight, flight, or freeze. And then everybody stops thinking and things get said and plans get made that can't work. So if everybody stays calm and they're able to access their prefrontal cortex, then you can problem solve, right? So all the things that you're worried about. And I'd be really interesting to see, like, when you do get your first placement and you're under your evaluation, just make sure you co-regulate your principal.
Yeah.
Everything will be good. Right?
It's true.
I would also question the perfect bar you have set up for yourself. It seems like that was set up very early in your life, right? So you have a perfect bar that you have set up. It's invisible that you probably created. We all have our own bars, right? So I would question that bar. What is that bar measuring, and where is that bar? Well, who was created by, and how did we create that? You know, just keep investigating that with lots of curiosity, and that's gonna really help you. And I mean, there's no perfect day, there's no perfect way, there's no perfect.
Right.
I use perfect every single day, even to communicate with people, because I want to make that word so unperfect that I use it in everything. If somebody texts me, I'm like, perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, perfect. Whatever you said is perfect.
Yeah.
It's no question. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So because I was similar to you, and then I didn't want to measure myself against any perfect bar, because mostly it's invisible, right? I mean, I don't even know what that bar looks like. We just create one and then we measure it.
It's so true. It's the comparing yourself to others, right? Of, oh man, I'm a mature student. I'm already 32 and now I'm just graduating. Oh, there's like, it's that comparison. Or I'm the youngest of 3 sisters. I have 2 older sisters who are very, very successful. And I have one that's quite close to me in age. She's only 3 years older. So smart. She's published. She's a professor. And growing up, I always compared myself to her. Her marks were so good and I struggled. And so I know that's kind of where that stems of, like, she's kind of where I want to be. And so it's always, it's like a little competitive, right? Like with the siblings.
Siblings, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Coach Toni, if you hadn't done the way you have created the classroom for, Shaz, when she came in, what do you think would have happened to her? Now she's entering, like, where would she be?
It's really hard to imagine.
Where would she be in some ways? The anxiety would be there, right? For sure.
Yeah,
right?
The anxiety would be there, and I don't think she would have done as well. I have never seen a student teacher grow so much. Like, so here's an example. So Shazna, she was in about the second week. She was doing some of her first lessons, and I could tell she was nervous because her voice was really flat. She was talking like this and everything was really flat. And after that was the feedback that I gave her is to have a bit more emotion in your voice. She's like, well, what can I do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe register for an improv class or what is the club, the Toastmasters or something where you get experience public speaking. She came in the next day and she killed it. She had everyone in the palm of her hand. I'm like, what did you do? And she said, well, I drove home and I just sang along with the radio all the way home. And on the way to work today, I just turned the radio up and sang at the top of my lungs. It was like just
screaming, singing.
I'm getting this today, right? I'm going to show Coach.
Honestly, at the end of her first student teaching practicum, I was starting to help her with things like cooperative learning tasks. Like, that's not something most teachers pick up on in their first, we weren't worrying about management anymore. She had all of the kids paying attention. I wasn't worried about pacing anymore. I wasn't worried about motivation anymore. And she was starting to hit into some levels that I've never explored with a student teacher before. And this, Shazna, you're the first student teacher that I've taken that's in your first practicum. So up until that year, I had always taken students that were in their final practicum. And I would say you were on level with them at the end.
You.
Like it was, I haven't seen that much growth from when you first came in and where you were when you left. And I know that your university facilitator saw that too.
Yeah.
Like the growth was crazy. And I think that's what we know about teaching children as well. When you can put children into a state where their brains are ready to learn, they learn so much. If you pressure them and push them to perform before they're ready, then they don't get the lesson. Then you're planning intervention and planning retesting and planning. And it's so much more work. But if you can find that sweet spot where they're, it's just hard enough to not cause anxiety and prepare them for it, they take off. So I know Kohila had said to you before, if you had $10 to spend $9 of it on readiness.
Yeah.
Right? Spend
anything else on it. I mean, the byproduct of that $10 would be thousands of dollars coming back from that, right?
That month in September with morning meeting and setting up all the routines and setting up the class rules, we don't get a lot of curriculum done, but did that ever pay off for the rest of the year?
Oh yeah.
Right? It really did.
So, but most people would say that that there was a lot of wasted time. If it didn't work out, they would say also that was wasting time regulating a person. Like, that's not what school's about. We got to go. We got to get stuff done.
It was teaching though. It was health curriculum, physical education and wellness. It was social studies curriculum. It was language arts curriculum. I mean, students we're supposed to teach them not just to read and write, but also to listen and speak. For my ELL students, that morning, half an hour where they sat in a circle and talked to each other and shared, that was an opportunity for them to speak and practice using English in front of other people. That it seems like wasted time, but the year I started doing that morning meeting, all kinds of things happened. Behavior went down. One of the things that was academic that I saw right away is I've never had students give such great oral presentations. I didn't have to tell them, look at the audience, raise your voice. Like, they stood up, and because they were used to speaking every day. So I think sometimes we focus too much on curriculum. Like, okay, there's science, we're going to teach during science class, and we're going to teach health during health class, and we're going to teach math during math class, and we're going to. And then when you get something like a morning meeting, which is really cross-curricular and brings these things out, we forget and think, oh, well, they're not learning anything. But they were learning so many things in that morning.
This is the biggest unlearning our school system needs, right? Is to unlearn that if there's no output, like in terms of something like I've completed 3 worksheets, or I've done this many words I've written out, or here I finished this or that, then we think nothing has happened, but that's not true. Nervous system, right? Settling into the nervous system and settling down and feeling safe. That's like hundreds of worksheets completed. That's the energy that comes out of. To do hundreds of worksheets can be done. So until we switch
and done correctly.
Done correctly, peacefully, right? Instead of being forced and shoved into the child, they actually peacefully enjoy the steps. And they want to be there and they want to do it. So it becomes a meaningful exercise.
The kids really enjoyed it. You could tell they were ready. They were excited to pull their chair into that circle. They were excited to share. And Toni was very patient too. So even when a student would maybe give a little bit more of a silly answer, didn't answer directly, she would let them finish, but then also proceed to be like, that's a good point, but so what do you think about this point? And then she'd bring it back to the question, and then they were able to answer. And it was interesting because the climate of that classroom, like, nobody really left at anyone. They left with their friends, right? It was comfortable. It was safe, like what you mentioned. And even I was like nervous for those first meetings. I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids are going to judge me. But anything I said, they were so interested in, and they actually cared. And then you'd always let them come back around to answer if they couldn't think of something at first. I really liked that. And I definitely would bring that into my own classroom. 100%. I saw the value of it.
Absolutely. So safety in our classroom looks in different ways, right? This is safety meaning keeping everybody safe. We usually do that pretty good, right? Unless the classroom is getting destroyed. That's a different type of classrooms. But most of the time we keep it. But this is a different type where you feel settled and safe internally. Yeah. Your heart is beating correctly and you're connecting with the next person beside you through that connection of, it's like a wave that's passing through each other, right? So that kind of classroom is beautiful to witness and be in. And if you can create that, thank you, Coach Toni, for creating that. That's amazing. Yes.
I loved being there. I really did. But I'm really loving the idea that I can spread that to other people.
Yeah.
Right. Teach other teachers how to have that feeling when they go into the classroom, because I think the teachers need it too. I think all of the things that they were taught that were sort of control based, all of the classroom management that was control based doesn't work anymore. And it's not because the students don't want to, it's because they can't.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much it doesn't matter what rewards you have, it doesn't matter what consequences you have. When the students cannot behave, it's just frustrating for everyone. So I think it's really important right now.
Why did you want to become a teacher?
Me?
Yeah, yourself. Yes. Right.
So I actually always wanted to be a teacher. I would play teacher with my sisters. I would draw on the windows or the mirrors, pretend it was my way, but I always wanted to be a teacher. But I never had the confidence in myself to be one. And so when I finished high school, I upgraded, and then I went and I worked in retail for quite a bit of time. But then my sister had my nephews and
Yes.
wow, so I've always loved kids, but then when they were born and I'm like quite involved in their life, or I try to be, and talking to them and seeing them grow. Or if I taught them like something small and they got it and they look up at me, and I was like, wow, like this is so much fun. It is so fun to get to know these kids. It's so fun to teach them. It's so fun to teach them to be themselves, to encourage them. And so that was what got me going, kind of rolling with it, like actually applying to Concordia, getting into going through my undergrad, getting my after degree. So they were my motivation. And as I started taking ed courses, I really learned about myself, like ed psych courses, I'd say. And I learned a lot about my learning disability. ADHD was diagnosed later in life, so I had no idea about it growing up. So I started to become very empathetic to myself and like my situation. And so then I was like, hey, that's all really fun and it's very motivating, but now I want to be a teacher that I didn't really have growing up. I want to, I moved around all the time, so I was never consistently in one school, so I never really had that relationship with the teacher. But when I was at a school, I didn't really pay attention. I didn't really understand it. I was nervous. I didn't talk in class. And so I want to be like a teacher where I can create that safe environment. And I want to show them that mistakes are okay. And that perfection is, it's unrealistic. It's okay. Perfection, perfect, whatever. It's like, okay, but I want to be the teacher that I never had. So. Yeah. And I feel like Toni's a teacher I never had. So I'm, like.
You manifested her to mentor you.
Yeah.
You manifested her to mentor you.
It was just meant to be, honestly.
Yes. She set your path very clear for others, other kids, right?
I knew I wanted to do, I know that taking care of children's wellness and education is important, but I never knew how. And then I actually saw it. I'm like, well, this is exactly what I want to do and how I want to do it.
Yeah.
So
our dream, my dream, and Coach Toni's dream is to bring Readiness OS into the classroom. So what you saw is just one few parts of that. If we could bring the whole system into it, it completely makes learning enjoyable.
Yes.
Relaxed and enjoyable. No matter what happens, no matter what labels are involved, it'll make it enjoyable, because learning should be enjoyable, right? Otherwise there's no point in learning that.
Yeah.
By force. So learning always should be enjoyable. So that's our dream, is to have it within the classroom to help all the teachers so that they could implement more of this. And the byproduct of that is good grades.
Yes, exactly.
Always good grades. just like, byproduct of, being a good business owner with the Readiness OS, because the Readiness OS is across all ages. Anybody can, if you're blocked or you're not working, if our system's not working and into flow, then we can't create anything, right? We're stuck.
Yeah.
So it can be for anyone, even a person who's a business owner who cannot, perform in their business and create money for them or wealth for them. If they're stuck, they can't do that. It's the same thing. The byproduct of that would be having great success in your business. As a student, it's having great success with your marks.
Yeah.
But aiming for the marks as a first and most is what happens most of the time. And that's why we end up with so strict and firm, right? So sometimes, somebody might be watching us thinking, this seems so gentle, and this is breathing, and this is, gentle rhythm and finding peace and pace and all this sounds good. But, sometimes you have to yell at kids. They need a firm classroom. Right? Doesn't that work? Come on. Don't we have to have that? What do you guys think?
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work on me. If I get yelled at, I shut down, and I feel ashamed. I feel like, oh, I didn't do this right. So, oh man, I'm dumb. Like I'm in trouble now. And also with ADHD, I struggle with eye contact too. And so getting yelled at for eye contact, demanding that eye contact is something I had growing up. Like my teachers would be like, hey, you're not paying attention. I'm like, actually, I am. I pay better attention when I'm not looking at you, actually. And so, yeah, I find... What was the question again? I completely...
No, I'm just saying, I was just playing the other side. Whoever is listening to us might think that, you guys are talking a beautiful world here, gentle and beautiful, like, it seems like so beautiful garden painted picture here. But what about being firm? Isn't that how you control the class? Is what I was saying.
No, I've been asked to raise my voice, and it's not something... I did it once because, that pressure of someone who is in, like, your mentor, right? Like you feel like there's like this power imbalance maybe. And so I did it, and I felt bad. I felt like this isn't the career for me. If this is what I need to do, I actually, like, when I got mad at them, they just looked so sad. And like, I couldn't focus on my own lesson because I'm like, I just, like, the look on their faces, like some of them, of course, were like, oh, like, this is normal. I'm like, this is whatever, fine. Yeah. You're demanding attention. But then there's others who are so sensitive, and I'm not a yeller. Like it's so hard for me to yell. And I think of yelling as something only for like serious situations, like, oh, like you're in danger, I'm going to yell and try to save you. And so, yeah, no, it dysregulates me having to do that. It dysregulated me growing up. And I also noticed that when I was a little bit more, I was assertive in a way where it was like the safety, right? Like you have your classroom management in where you respect your students and you're not yelling at them. But when you yell at them, I found that their work wasn't even, like, they didn't have any motivation. Then they couldn't even think of like descriptive words of funny or happy or, or cute or like, oh, this was pink or pretty, soft, whatever. Like they would have before, they wouldn't have been able to come up with words when I yelled at them.
Performance drops, right?
Performance dropped. And so that's why, like, that more calm, like Toni, you mentioned the low arousal approach. And so I didn't know what it was called at the time. And now I'm like, that is exactly how I would align my approach with. And so I find when you're calm and maybe if there's a student who doesn't want to work, you give them a little bit of space, but then you go to them, you ask them questions, like, one or two questions, or like you try to encourage them. You say, okay, just try your best, do one little thing. And then when you're like, whoa, this is great, and they want to show you, I noticed that they were wanting to write even more because I was like, whoa, so you went to your grandma's house? Where is that? And it was just so much better than, you only wrote this? This is not enough. Like, it was day and night. The difference.
We could just put ourselves in that situation. If I was a child being told that, I mean, I'm not going to be happy. Here, give me, I'll write 4 more sentences for you. I'll be like, whatever. I don't want to write for you anything.
Yeah. Also, there are some students that if you get mad at them, they get mad at you in a way where they're going to go like this. And like, I'm not working for you. Like, you're mean. And so they don't want to. They're like, like, you're going to be mean to me. I'm not going to work. Like, they don't listen to that. So, yeah.
And some of us shut down. Like you said, I was very shy too. And coming to Canada and not knowing English, I muted myself. So I went very silent as a child. Nobody noticed me. So as a teacher, many teachers did not notice me. I was like those people who are like, if you're a teacher, when going into those classrooms, always pay attention to those ones who are very silent, right? Because they don't cause anything. We're like the norm. We're like, we don't even make a noise.
Yeah.
We keep it quiet and you don't need to worry about us. But those are the ones who need the most, because those are the ones who are talking to their own brain. Because I ended up trying to kill myself at the age of 12 because I didn't have anybody to talk to. Nobody noticed me. So I'm saying those silent people, we think they're not troublemaker. They're fine. No, usually they're not fine, right? So we always need to, because of safety in the classroom, we always kind of focus on the ones who are loud and making noise. But those kids also definitely need this type of approach, very, very close approach to notice them. And then the first thing you said is like, if they can't even look into their eyes, like I couldn't look into their eyes. I would never look up at anyone, because if I looked up, then I felt like I need to answer them. So if I look down, I don't have to answer. That was kind of my hiding spot, right? So to this day, I can't, like if somebody says, listen, I don't need to look at them. I would be like drawing on my paper and listening very, very, very well, like 100% listening. And sometimes, my husband will be like, look at me, I'm talking to you. I'm like, no, you talk. I just need to draw here. I'm listening while I'm drawing. But if he makes me look like this, I'm not actually there. I'm daydreaming.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I have no idea what you just said because you made me look at you.
Something about looking, I totally lose my focus. But if I'm doing my own thing and I'm listening. But some people think that's not listening, right?
Yeah, and
they think you're busy and being disrespect almost.
Yeah,
because you're not looking at me.
It's so true. My CT would. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
My CT. There's one student who wouldn't look. Right, he just would be playing with the carpet or like touching his shoes. And she would ask him to repeat the instructions, and he was able to do it. And I think it kind of upset her sometimes because she's like, what? Like, no, you're supposed to look at me. And so, I just think that it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary command of children, especially too, who they don't need to follow that, I don't know.
You just have to start understanding who you have in your classroom, right?
Yeah.
And that's who they are. That's who they are. But paying attention to all of them, right, would be the ultimate goal, right, Toni? Like even the silent ones that are the most quieter ones cause no trouble.
Definitely.
Shazna, when you said when you did yell at the students, how you felt.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt in the beginning too. I would lose my temper and raise my voice, and I'd see the students going, and I'd feel terrible about it. 20 years into teaching, I still do that occasionally. Like I lose my temper every once in a while. The day gets the better of me. But as an experienced teacher, when I would yell at someone, I wouldn't be feeling sad or upset that I would be thinking, I'd be feeling stupid because I know I just wasted that lesson. No one learned anything, and no one's going to learn anything in the next lesson. And I'm going to have to go back and reteach all of this and rebuild the relationships that I had with those students.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it felt like. It felt like, oh no, because they're grade ones, right? They're so young. I'm like, oh man, I just yelled at them. I went home. I cried myself. And I was telling my husband, I feel like I just ruined everything I've tried to build with them. I feel like now they may feel afraid or won't trust me or feel safe to make those mistakes or to look around or to doodle while I'm talking. And so
what did you do to rebuild the relationship after you went home and cried? What did you do?
Yeah. So so I promised myself, I'm not going to yell. The only time I'm going to yell is in gym class because you tend to yell in gym class. But no, I would come in. I was way more excitable. I'm a very even kill type of person. And so I'm like, good morning, usually good morning. But this time I was like, good morning, you guys. I am so happy to see that you're here and you're smiling faces. And oh my gosh, you guys have your backpacks on the hook. I was just more excited. And then I went into the morning reads and the calendar time where I'm like, I need you guys to all sing with me. I was just a little bit more excitable. Not that it just felt like, okay, I think they saw me in a very maybe more of a negative mood. And I just want to show them like, no, like this is how I want to be. This is how I want to. And I did have a conversation with them too, where I was like, so yesterday was a little crazy. I'm like, and I'm so sorry about that, where I had to take some deep breaths, but I did not take those deep breaths, right? So next time, Mrs. P has to take those deep breaths, right? So if you need to take a deep breath, you take a deep breath. If you think you can sometimes remind me like, hey, Mrs. P, did you take a deep breath? I'll love it. So I think acknowledging what happened really helped. Because I didn't just like, oh, excited. And then one day not excited. And then the next day, oh, excited. Then it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to really just acknowledge where I was like, listen, my bad. I apologize for, I didn't like the way I acted. I'm going to learn from that. And they were like, you didn't like the way you acted? I didn't like the way you acted yesterday either. And I was like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's exactly beautiful, because they need to know that you're also human. You can have days, and learning to apologize is a great skill, right? I mean, not many people do that as adults. So that's a beautiful part. And then they can help you.
Yeah.
All kids love to help adults. Yeah. That's the best job they ever want, is to help us, right?
So they do. They really love to correct you. Perfect. I love it too. I think it's so funny. Where I'm like, this is perfect. Actually, I'm really glad I made that mistake. What I was going to mention, within your class, I feel like because you created that climate where mistakes were okay, because you would be like, oh, I didn't type that correctly, but I'm just going to keep going and I'll go back to my mistakes later. You just made it so comfortable. And I think because of that, I was able to acknowledge that. And I saw you being human, because when I first met you, I'm like, oh, this lady's smart. Like, this lady is above, like she's like PhD level, like, oh my God, she's gonna think I'm like crazy. But then you were just like so like easygoing. This is Taro.
Yep, we see it. We see it. It's like it's about time to hang up, is what the cat's telling us.
Yeah, he's like, it's almost dinner time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I brought that into the grade 1 classroom, where the kids love when you acknowledge your mistakes. And I noticed that when I said sorry, I was like, I'm really sorry about that. It just like immediately, some of them didn't even remember, some of them didn't care, but some of them were like, you could tell that immediately they were able to, like, they'd come to me, like whenever, like they wanted to just keep talking to me, like that was it. That's actually, I think that made it stronger. That's what made our relationship way stronger.
Yeah, we don't need to see your face. We just need the tail. That's fine. We just need the tail.
Did any of your students?
Sorry?
Did any of your students ever come to you and say, Mrs. P, I think you need to take a deep breath?
Yeah, they did. It was,
of course,
it was during when my facilitator came to observe me, and I just told them, I'm like, okay, you guys, my facilitator is coming and I'm feeling really nervous. And then one kid was like, I'm like, yeah. And they're like, did you take a deep breath? I was like, I haven't yet. Should we do it together?
Oh,
do you remember my student that used to make the beats on the computer?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
A little bit of an internet addict, right? And so one day I walked over, and he'd always wanted to listen to music on his headphones while he was working. And the only reason I didn't want him to do that is because he's so distracted by the music. It wasn't helping him focus. Mm-hmm. And I was teaching a lesson and they were working, and I look over and he's got his headphones on. And I go walking over to his desk, like, I've told you. And I look on his computer, and he's got one of the flow exercises on the application that GoNoodle. He's on GoNoodle, and he's regulating himself. He's listening to the app about the red balloon, about holding onto the red balloon and then letting your. And I was about to walk over and go, then I just, okay, my work here is done.
Nice, yeah. Beautiful.
So to hear you doing this in your classroom,
it makes Feels good, right, Coach?
Too.
Yeah, it feels good. This is the ripple effect that we talk about all the time, right, with what we do.
Yeah.
And then those students will see you, and then they will go on to becoming a teacher to be just like you. So that's what we want, right? We want that, because teaching and learning should be such an enjoyable process that we have to remember it. Remember it for years, right? Because we always remember the good teachers, right?
Oh yeah.
Like if you ask me anything about it, only a few.
No.
I know. Only
no.
remember the good ones, right? Like their names. Like if you ask me, there's only one name I'll ever remember, and I had so many teachers, right?
That's true. I have my favorite one on Facebook, actually.
So I wanted to bring you in because I wanted to set the stage for new educators who are coming from the college and getting their degree, moving in, and because there's a lot of people leaving. The school is something that right now it's in a lot of chaos, and sometimes you feel it, right? But if you have the right approach, what Coach Toni has given you, you have Readiness OS. If you can think about how do I get the kids in the classroom ready first before the curriculum, not the other way around. Just that one shift, makes a big difference. So, Coach Toni, thank you. Thank you for taking it into and delivering to another person who can create the ripple effect. Anything else you want to ask her or say, Toni?
No, I'm so happy that when I called you and said, how did your second practicum go? Because I know I'm not a normal kind of cooperating teacher in some ways, or a mentor teacher. And I always worry if I'm, you worry about the students too. What if the next teacher that they get isn't? And so when you told me that you were able to get through it and remember to do those things yourself, that was probably the biggest compliment you could have ever given me. That just really made me feel like I'm doing the right thing in my life.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, thank you. You really did save my second practicum. So you did.
Love it. Love it. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience. I wish you all the best. I think you're going to be an amazing teacher. You're already acting and already, animated. I love that. Your class is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can't hold that much energy, but you can. Yeah. So I told myself I like my grade 10 students.
Oh yeah. The older ones.
That's where I settled after a while of teaching different grades. My grade 10s are my favorite, but younger kids, I always so blessed to see people with that much energy wanting to give them, because they need it. Yeah. Those kids need it, and you have it, and you can give it. So thank you. Thank you, Toni, so much for doing that and making another teacher have a successful career.
She's going to have a very successful career. I know it.
See that. Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good to talk to you.